Hello, everyone. How are you all? Greetings. I humbly serve as the principal of Gillstone Elementary. Thank you for joining us for this celebration. Today, we celebrate new beginnings for our school, our educators, our students, and our families and community. We are excited to celebrate this momentous occasion with you today. We will start today's program with the Pledge of Allegiance and a word of welcome by a few of our wonderful students. Thank you. I think it's extremely important. I wanted to really highlight the call that Jill Stone answered with when imagine one day there was a call to serve the refugee kids at Vickery Meadow. Can you imagine when she saw the kids coming from 11 different countries, speaking 11 different languages, and she answered that call. And I've spoken with my teachers this week, and the important thing as I have a year to serve, I've been in Dallas ISD for 29 years. And this is the most diverse group of students that I proudly serve. And imagine that she saw that it was important that the refugee kids in our community have access and opportunity. And we talk about legacy, and that legacy has outlasted her. She called on friends. I've heard so many stories, individuals when we were moving in August. I've heard so many compelling stories about her working with a student from Afghanistan and how the little girl was not a reader and how she was committed daily to working with this young lady, and she went on and graduated from college. So those are the calls, and that's the legacy that we want to leave here at Gillstone. Our kids are we look at, when you look at the numbers and the statistics of what's going on here, we look at the faces and the stories. And all of the kids on the stage, they have faces and stories that we want to make sure that they have access and opportunities. And our goal is that they're competitive and they're confident. When they leave Gillstone, we want them to be competitive and confident in their abilities to go on and do whatever they desire to do in the next phase of their life. So thank you. I think it was extremely important, and I hope that your heartstrings were pulled as you saw the diversity of Gillstone. So we will have the infamous next. We'll have Dan McShay. He is our trustee, so he has a few words of inspiration for us.
Thank you very much, Ms. King, and it's really a pleasure to be here today. This is a long time coming. I have some official remarks that I have to read, but I also want to just say some things from the bottom of my heart about this community and the support that this school and the kids of this community have received from the Gillstone family and from Temple Emmanuel, and all of you who are part of the Gillstone family and Temple Emmanuel. If you would please stand, I'd like to have us all recognize you. Thank you very much. We also have a huge number of people who have supported this community and this school, along with the Gillstone family and the Temple Emmanuel community. And I see Sarah Pappard here. I see Martha Stowe standing way out over there. She needs to be sitting up here someplace. But we are so proud of the way Dallas has come together to support the kids of Vickery Meadow. When I first got on the board, I drove to the old Gillstone building, and I didn't know it was the school. I thought it was an old motel, and it was in terrible condition. It was totally inadequate. For those of you who have not seen the old building, you had to go outside from one classroom to get from one classroom to another, just like you would in a cheap motel. I mean, the facility was horrible, but the work that was done inside the building was magnificent. And led by Jill Stone and led by other members of this community, we've really been able to make sure that kids in this community have had the chance to learn and grow. You know, when I got on the board, it took a while for us to get a bond program. I got on the board in 2012. We finally passed a bond program in 2015, and the number one priority was this building. And it took a long time for us to actually find a location for it. Some of you have followed it. I'm not going to repeat this, but it didn't work over here, it didn't work over there, and we finally found a place for it, and we were able to open it in August of last year, and it's been great. I remember at one point there were a number of people saying, "Well, what's the name of the new building going to be?" Well, I just want you to know there was no question it was going to be Jill Stone, because that is a legacy that we need to honor. So now for my official remarks. Let me just say, this day has been highly anticipated by members of this community and the entire school district. This replacement school will provide relief for the nearby campuses and an updated learning environment for our students. It symbolizes a bright future for the young students who will begin their education here. They will each have the chance to get off to a good start to reach their highest potential. This day and this school could not have come to pass without the full backing of the community and the voters who made it possible. Thank you for all your support and your ongoing involvement with this school and these young scholars. Thanks also to the faculty and staff who give their all to the students every day. We look forward to great things to come out of the new Jill Stone building. Thank you all.
And next we will have remarks from Dr. Hinojosa. I have to tell Hinojosa, he was actually my government teacher when I attended Adamson High School. So that's why I guess the inspiration and encouragement, that's why I'm here today. Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa.
Well, thank you all for being here. This is not a routine opportunity to have a ribbon cutting. It's really kind of tying a lot of things together. If you haven't heard, I'm in my last month as superintendent. I introduced myself. I'm superintendent again, still, but not for long, baby. So it's been kind of amazing to watch all of this happen. First, let me tell you, when I was her government teacher, and by the way, she dated my best point guard. I had a point guard who was pigeon-toed and bow-legged, and he averaged 11 assists a game. And she was his inspiration to be such a great basketball player for me. And what I did not know, when I was the coach at Adamson High School, I was living across the street from the old Jill Stone building. And it wasn't. And so that was back in the 1980s. And then I didn't even know that building was there. Somehow the district at some point acquired it because we needed to serve children here in the 5 Points area. But I lived there for about 5 years while I was a coach. And when I was her government teacher, and then I was coaching basketball. But even go further back, a lot of people know, but I'm very proud to be an immigrant. So for me, born in Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, Mexico, and then having my father who was a minister and my mom who later became a minister have a third grade education, they said, we're going to the greatest country in the world, you're going to get an education. And that's why this is even more special for me, that we're serving this community of children that come from all over the world, as you heard them introduce themselves. And so then you fast forward in my career. I wanted to be an assistant principal in Dallas, and I applied for a job at Dowd Story Middle School, and I couldn't even get an interview. So I had to leave Dallas, much to my chagrin, because Dallas is part of my DNA. So then I go become a superintendent, and then I end up in Hayes Consolidated School District. It was the second fastest growing district in the state. Thank goodness that was a balloon. Gosh. Nowadays you get a little skittish about these things. No, but in 2000, and I was the superintendent of the second fastest growing district in the state behind Frisco, and I knew nothing about construction. They hired me for some other reason, but now I had to take on. That's when I met Chris Huckabee. Chris Huckabee was the architect who put this school together, and he did a great job for us there when he was a young fledgling company that he took over from his dad, and he made that company grow, but we grew together. As I grew as a superintendent, Chris grew as an architect, and now his company is one of the top architectural firms in the country, obviously with a big start here in Fort Worth and the Metroplex, but I knew the kind of work they could do. So then you fast forward, then I go to schools every Wednesday. Much to my surprise, as Trustee Mischke described, I walk into Jill Stone, and I didn't even know kind of what this was like as a building. Of course, we knew that this volunteer community here is so special. And so Jill Stone's name always came up, and so, but then I was determined that at that point that we needed to do something about this building at some point. And so Dan is right. When we got the opportunity to go, I got rehired in 2015. And the board asked me, well, you ready to go for a bond election? I said, I just got here. This is June. So we're going to have it on the ballot in November. I said, Mikey likes it. I'll try it. And so we put it on. And then, of course, Dan described, this is some very challenging topography. And then to be able to get, we had to acquire some apartments. And of course, the board was very conscious about not displacing people who this was their home. But at the same time, everything's gentrifying around here. And at the same time, that building that we had was not adequate. Here's the irony. We're actually going to use it as sling space for one of our other schools that we're rebuilding. And then someone's going to be occupying it for a couple of years until they get their building rebuilt. And so then the voters came back, and we worked on this property, and we wanted to make it special. And I would drive by here like I always do, at least, once every 2 or 3 months to watch the construction go. I try not to micromanage, so I wouldn't walk around with a hard hat. But it was just amazing to see this beautiful facility grow. I was here at the start of the year when we welcomed the children back. And then of course we've been through the pandemic, the last 2.5 years or 2 years like no other. But now we're in a much better space, a much better place. And, we have actually had overcrowding at Hotchkiss. So we're able to not only take care of the students at the Jill Stone that was very small. Now here's a much nicer facility. When you get to go in there, the views are spectacular because of this topography and where it sits on the hill. So these young kids that have been all over the world have an opportunity to see this beautiful city of Dallas and the future that they're going to have for us. And so now I also want to thank the taxpayers for making this happen, because in 2020, in a pandemic, they voted to support a bond election for $3.4 billion. And so we are transforming, we're refreshing the entire city, school district. And so that would not have been possible if you haven't seen South Oak Cliff, if you haven't seen Hillcrest. A lot of these facilities have been completely modernized thanks to the taxpayers. I also want to take a moment of personal pleasure to introduce a great friend of mine who just happens to be the county judge. Clay Jenkins, why don't you stand up and say hello to everybody? A lot of people don't know, Clay and I and the city manager and the head of DART and the head of Dallas College and the head of Parkland, we meet monthly. We meet monthly just to plan and talk and organize our work together. During the pandemic, we were meeting weekly, sometimes every other day, to try to figure out, because there was no playbook for this pandemic, and none of us had ever been through anything like this before. But when you have a can-do city like Dallas, you figure out how to make things work. And so we're very, very proud. And this school will be here forever, and I'm sure their enrollment's gone up. Every time we build a new building, all of a sudden, kids find a way to get here. So that's what we're going to be able to do for this whole community. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate the building, but most importantly, Jill Stone and her legacy of volunteer and support for this community that is so underserved. And she had such a big heart. She dedicated her life to making sure that we had success. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to you.
I know, Dr. H. Thank you, Big Papa, for the 13 years that you've served Dallas ISD. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to the legacy that you've left also here in Dallas ISD. Now, we will have, as I look out, my heart is really warmed as I look out at so many of you who really are, there oftentimes as a principal, I've been a principal for 15 years, and there's always someone who asks, can I help? And after a couple of months, it seems like the volunteer, they don't show up anymore. But as I look out in the audience, I see Martha Stowe with Vickery Meadow Foundation. I see Literacy Achieves and United to Learn. I want to tell you, in Temple, of course, they really partner with us. I mean, the ask is never too big. And sometimes when I'm quiet, when we're about the work, they will reach out to me and say, what can we do? We haven't heard from you. What do your teachers need? What are the needs of your students? So we really, really want to thank you all for your sincere service. And again, the call to serve the students in the Vickery Meadow community. Now, we will have special words from Mr. Stone. He is the husband of Dr. Marvin Stone. I'm sorry. Dr. Stone. He is the husband of Jill Stone.
Thank you, Selena, and thank you all for being here on this very special day. Every day, Jill took care of our children, Nancy and Rob, and me. She also cared for many others in the Dallas community, both young and old. We were married when Jill was 19. After the children were in school, she went back to college and graduated from SMU Phi Beta Kappa, after which she earned a master's degree in urban studies and then became the coordinator of the urban studies program at SMU. Later, she served with the Mental Health Association and the Department of Psychology at UT Southwestern. But her real passion was for this area, for Vickery Meadow. She was one of the early members of the VCAT board, the Vickery Community Action Team. She was on the board and faculty of the Vickery Meadow Learning Center, which is now known as Literacy Achieves, and to which we owe so much to Sarah Pappert, who is retiring from that post. She worked in the Vickery Meadow Food Pantry. She helped initiate the campaign for the annual winter coat drive for children who did not have coats that would keep them warm during the cold weather. But most importantly, she volunteered at the Vickery Meadow Elementary School and helped launch the Host and Fun Saturdays reading programs. She was particularly fond of the one-on-one sessions that she had with children to help improve their reading skills. Jill was always smiling, no matter what challenge or obstacle she encountered. She always dealt with them in a positive manner and made things happen, good things. Wincy Wilson was the full-time teacher at the elementary school who worked with Jill for over 6 years. Wincy said Jill was so giving, loving, supportive, and inspiring. Jill made each student feel like the brightest person in the world. She constantly praised them and told them how smart they were. One of her volunteer colleagues summed it up by saying, "When Jill was with children, it was magic." The students lived up to Jill's expectations. They worked hard and tried harder because she believed in them. Jill was a selfless person who got her fulfillment from helping others. Her achievements were always reflected onto others. After Jill passed away, the Vickery Meadow Elementary School was renamed for her. Today, we are so pleased to dedicate this beautiful new enlarged elementary school in Jill's name so that her love for children and learning can continue. We thank, and our whole family thanks, Superintendent Hinojosa, members of the DISD, Principal Selena King, and all of you for being here on this wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stone, for those encouraging words. We have Judge Jenkins here. Would you like to make any remarks?
I'll be super brief.
Okay.
Hey, I'm reminded when I heard your story that he was your government teacher. And when I see this beautiful building, I'm reminded of something my great-grandmother used to tell us when we were little kids. My dad died when I was young, and so while my mom was working, we would stay with my great-grandma. She was big on watching church on television a whole lot. And one of the things that she liked was some bauble that she got from one of these religious shows. And it said, any man can count the seeds in an apple, but only God can count the apples in one seed. And so when I hear the story of Dr. Hinojosa touching your life and you touching the Point Guard's life, and I look at this beautiful school, and I think of all the lives that it's going to touch, and all of the beauty and the power that it's going to bring to children like these children back here. And by the way, I see you guys are from different parts of the world, and you make America and you make Dallas great, and we are so glad to have you here, and we love having you here. And just thank you to everyone who has done anything to make this possible. Really appreciate you all. God bless you all. Have a great day.
Thank you for celebrating with us. Now we will have Jill attended temple, and I guess there's someone, I'm sure that she rallied the forces, right? She wanted to make sure that someone else will stand in her stead to serve the students of Vickery Meadow. So we have Adam Lambert here, who is our SBDM president and our committed, loyal supporter.
Good morning. So I am the community representative on the advisory committee here at Jill Stone Elementary School. And more than 20 years ago, I was with Jill Stone and probably Syl Benenson walking on the campus, on the old campus where she was taking us to show us what was going on just a close distance from our temple. And like Judge Jenkins' comment about the seeds in the apple, I was affected by Jill Stone and her passion and her dedication to something that was bigger than her. And so I think if she was here today, she would say, it takes a village. And so I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge a lot of the neighborhood organizations, the community organizations that have been so supportive of Jill Stone over the years. The local nonprofit advocacy groups, United to Learn and Vickery Meadow Youth Development Foundation, corporate supporters, including Central Market, Cosmos Energy, the shops at Park Lane, and Northwood Retail, and then many faith supporters, including Fellowship Dallas, Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Service, Ladies of Charity of Dallas, National Council of Jewish Women, North Park Presbyterian, Park Cities Baptist Church. Last but not least, Temple Emmanuel. My temple, Temple Emmanuel, has prioritized Vickery Meadow for literally decades. We've developed programs here at this school, including Fun Saturdays, tutoring, and parent counseling, among others. 10 years ago, with support of people in our community and here today, we raised money to build the school playground. Not only that, but we spent a lot of time negotiating to actually purchase the land that went on. And it was a true testament, I think, to our community and what we're capable of doing. So on this day, I feel particularly proud. I'm proud of the efforts of Dan Mitchkay, who I've watched over the years champion us with the DISD. I'm proud of Jill Stone of blessed memory, who was so passionate about drawing people to this area. I'm proud of Temple Emmanuel, leadership of the many rabbis, but Debbie Robbins, who's here today, and our multi-decade commitment to this area. And finally, to Principal King and Principal Pratt and the teachers of this school, all who are dedicated to the success of the young people here. You know, I'll make another note. It was 10 years ago when we had the dedication of the playground at Jill Stone, the other Jill Stone. There was a bunch of kids out in the front. And I made a comment at that time, it's about the future leadership, and I knew that there was going to be a future mayor sitting among us. And you never know where the future mayor is going to come from. And not only that, but there's a lot of history made at Jill Stone because Stephanie Elizalde was sitting here 10 years ago representing our district. So my comment is that the future is bright. We look forward to developing new leaders here on the Jill Stone campus. Principal King, your community is behind you. Congratulations on the dedication of this beautiful campus.
Thank you, Adam. Lastly, we will have Mr. Alfred. He's going to talk about, we really appreciate him and his team. We've had there are other new campuses that are being built across the district, and everyone is coming to see what they can, look at this fabulous building and see what they can take away. So we're excited, and thank you for your team, Brent.
Thank you, Principal Selena. I'll be super brief because I know a lot of you are waiting to tour the building. So with that, thanks to the support of Dallas voters who passed back-to-back bond programs. This is actually our 4th consecutive bond in Dallas. Dallas ISD is moving dirt. We're updating classrooms, installing technology, and modernizing facilities all across the city. The new Jill Stone School at Vickery Meadows is a 3-story elementary facility that integrates the environment with an innovative structure. The brand new 82,000 square foot building features a library, choice learning environments, a gymnasium, and a covered and enclosed play area. This $57.2 million project provides a learning environment that meets the needs of a culturally diverse population. It is my pleasure to recognize the team responsible for this beautiful piece of architecture. Our architect, Huckabee, our program management team, Jacobs, and our contractor, Construction Zone of Texas. To the Vickery Meadows community, on behalf of Dallas ISD Bond Program and Construction Services, welcome to your new home.
Thank you, Brent. As we close today's ceremony, I want to thank our participants in today's ceremony and those who worked behind the scenes to make this day possible. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the family of our school's namesake. Would the Stone family please stand? On behalf of our amazing team of educators, incredible students, and last but never least, our supportive parents, thank you for your efforts in building the new Jill Stone. As we begin the next chapter in the life of Jill Stone and prepare to officially cut the ribbon on this amazing new facility, I want to thank each of you for joining us today. Following the ribbon cutting ceremony, I invite you to tour our new home and enjoy light refreshments in our courtyard. Thank you for attending our building dedication ceremony. And also we want to recognize Council Member Willis, who's joining us today. Thank you. That's okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Or go directly to the courtyard. You can tour the building now or go directly to the courtyard for refreshments. Thank you so much for joining us today.